Hello, folks. Woody Wallace from NeedCoffee.com here, back again for another Wayhomer review. How's it going? Okay, so first of all, well, here's how this works. Let me say this first. I've just left the cinema, so that way, and I've seen a movie, and I'm going to tell you about it on my way home to save time. Time for you as well. Now, first of all, let me explain. This is not a Wayhomer about the Glee concert movie. And I know some of you are disappointed, but there's two really good reasons why I'm not going to do a Wayhomer for the Glee movie. Is because, number one, I don't really like the TV show. I mean, I appreciate the fact that it's High School Musical for people who are too embarrassed to say they like High School Musical. And I understand that it does a lot of really good things, like High School Musical, about making people interested in musical theater and singing and stuff like that, and that can never be a bad thing. So, just because I don't like the show doesn't mean I don't appreciate the show on some level. And I'm just not curious about it. I mean, it's a concert film. From the trailer, I got the feeling there was no real narrative going on. It was just performances of songs, and then 3D, and I'm just like, okay, there's not much material to work with from that, so I'm just not curious. It didn't speak to me. So that's why instead I went for one of the other major releases that's coming up this weekend. Well, not coming up, it's happening. It's out. I just saw it, and that is 30 Minutes or Less. Alright, so that being said, 30 Minutes or Less, synopsis is this. So the people that made Zombieland were slumming until they could get the sequel on. No. Jesse Eisenberg plays a guy who is a complete loser. And it's not just a judgment call on my behalf, that's a judgment call from pretty much every character in the film, including the Jesse Eisenberg character. And he's a pizza delivery guy. He's your typical, you know what it is? He's your typical archetypal protagonist who is, I don't know, lost his way, not found his way, something, you know what I mean? The typical slacker protagonist. That's a protagonist is a hero that hasn't been born yet, or maybe would that be the father of the hero? I don't know. Anyway, you know what I'm saying. So he's a complete loser, and he, doesn't have a great friendship with a friend. It doesn't have a great relationship with this girl that he wishes he could be with, and manages to deliver a pizza to two guys who are deciding that they need to get some money so they can kill one of the guy's dads and want to force somebody to rob a bank. So they strap a bomb vest to, you have to merge with traffic. You can't just, anyway. They strap a bomb vest to the Jesse Eisenberg character to make him do what they need to do to get the money they need to do what they need to do. It sounds more complicated than it actually is. So anyway, hijinks ensue. There's your synopsis. Jesse Eisenberg with a bomb strapped to his chest, running around. So, here's the thing about 30 Minutes or Less, which I couldn't remember that much about from seeing the trailer, and Cosette, my wife, kept talking about, oh, that's that pizza movie. So, good advertising. The deal is, it is trying to be, well, it's trying to be a lot of things. It's trying to be funny, first of all. It's not even just trying to be funny, it's trying to be a dark comedy. And dark comedy is harder than comedy because, on one sense, it's a little bit disturbing and a little bit wrong and stuff like that, and I think we can all agree that having a bomb strapped to your chest is pretty wrong, right? So, you've got that, first of all, and on top of everything else, you have to balance the disturbing with the funny, so that you at no point do you tip over into Darkland, right? Like, here's a perfect example. the movie Happiness, which if you've seen, you're now wincing, and if you haven't, you're confused. It is the best example of walking the razor's edge right down the middle of funny and disturbing. But it fell off into the disturbing and left the funny behind in the second half. Burn After Reading is another example. It's a dark comedy. A perfect dark comedy is where you're laughing and you're saying to yourself, should I be laughing at this? But you don't feel, dirty or wrong. That's a dark comedy at its finest. But the thing about 30 Minutes or Less is it never really goes either direction. It doesn't, surprisingly, for a film that, again, has Jesse Eisenberg running around with a bomb strapped to his chest, it doesn't go all that dark. There's not a lot of dark stuff going on. I have the feeling they think they're dark and edgy, but I just don't, it didn't do anything for me. And on top of that, the comedy part, I mean, I'm not going to sit here and say it's not a completely unfunny movie from end to end. There are bits where I laughed, but for the most part, it was just a film of great silences. And you know what I mean by that. You know when you've seen a comedy and you can tell that the comedy thinks it's funny and the people who wrote it think it's funny, but not a lot of people in the audience seem to think it's funny. And so there's those beats in there where they kind of like prepped you to give you room to laugh, but there's no laughter happening, right? I mean, that's this sort of film. It's just, there's not a lot of funny stuff going on. And they hit all the high points. I mean, they're talking about sex and dick jokes and blowjobs and more sex and crude stuff, and they're trying to hit all the buttons to think that they're gonna like fire off some funny, but no funny really happens. And I mean, no funny, but comparatively speaking to the whole of the film, which runs like a sprawling 83 minutes or something, which, I mean, honestly, was still a little too long. In the last 10 minutes, I was, I don't know, thinking about what I wanted for lunch. But it just, the funny doesn't really happen. So, wants to be dark, wants to be funny, winds up really being neither. Which is a shame, because I really enjoyed Zombieland. I'm like one of the few people that I know who, likes Jesse Eisenberg. And I'm not saying that because it's not like a Justin Bieber kind of hate or anything. It's just that, piece of wreckage flipping in the road. And I missed it. Alright, so, 5 points. So, but people just find his acting style and demeanor and everything sort of annoying. And I don't. I mean, I think that's just his style, and I actually like it, they get points for throwing in a Facebook joke. I mean, that's kind of nice. But, that's about it. And he does okay. But I think the two people who get the most credit for the film are Fred Ward in a small role, because he's Fred Ward, and he does not disappoint. And also, I believe it's Michael Pena. Is pretty good in it. He has some funny moments, but again, he not consistently funny. And I don't think it's the fault of anyone in the film, because you got funny people in there. Eisenberg's funny, Danny McBride's funny. We know the director can do funny. It's just not a very funny script, I don't think. So it just doesn't work that well. So. My thing would be this: if you're really just excited as hell about this film, if everything about this film on every level appeals to you, I would still tell you to Netflix it, because I mean, it was $9 to go see that for a matinee, and honestly, there's a bunch of stuff you could do better with $9. Now, I'm not saying the film for you people isn't worth seeing. You people meaning, you people who find that sort of thing funny. If the film still sounds funny and you think I'm full of it, I'm just saying. That's $9. $9 is $9. So, it's going to come out on DVD in 3 months' time. It'll be on Netflix, around that time, probably. Or go rent it from Redbox or something if you must. But, I mean, you and some friends go see that $9 a head. That's money you could spend elsewhere. That's all I'm saying. So, yeah. Cup-wise, I mean, it didn't really offend me. It wasn't really bad. but it didn't wow me on any level. It didn't, and it only barely entertained. So, but it didn't manage to offend me. So I'm thinking, I don't know. I do feel like I wasted my time. So I'll say a cup and a half. A cup and a half because I was thinking about lunch, and this kept me from lunch. So, man, that's all I can say. 30 minutes or less. If I wasn't in the car, I would recommend a bunch of other dark comedies that you could go see. Don't watch Happiness; it's really disturbing. But like Burn After Reading, if you just want to watch a really good dark comedy, it's the Coen Brothers. Watch Burn After Reading. There you go. There's one. Do that instead. Go rent that. Save some money. Actually, buy some pizza. That inspired me to want to eat some pizzas when the film did. So there you go. I'm going to have a busy weekend next weekend because there's lots of stuff coming out that I want to do Wayhomers for, so watch for that. You'll see me looking increasingly haggard and worn out. But thank you to everyone who watches these things, who enjoys them, who shares them with others. It's much appreciated. If you do enjoy these things and you'd like to contribute to the fund that pays for the gas, the tickets, and all the other stuff that goes into making these, it's easy to do. Go to needcoffee.com/, we have two choices, needcoffee.com/support, or you can set up a quick PayPal thing that will help us out ongoing for about 99 cents a week. So next week you're going to get a huge bargain because I'd like to do 3 of these things. So that's 33 cents a review. Wow, if you do the 99-cent route. Or if you want to become a full-on sponsor, you can go to needcoffee.com/sponsorship. I'll even put those URLs on the screen. In fact, I'm reminding myself to do that because I'll forget between now and the 15 minutes when I start working on this thing. So thanks to everybody for sharing these things and for your continued support. And we will talk to you soon. And I think this light's out. Just remember, folks, they become 4-way stops when the lights go out. The stoplights, that is. There's your tip. We'll talk to you later. Bye. Yeah, I know, angle change. I'm not home yet, so this technically still counts. It just occurred to me. See all you people worrying about me driving at the same time that I'm doing it? First of all, I'm not driving right now. Don't panic. That's why I have one hand on the camera and one hand here. It's not some magic trick. I took the rig down off of the window at a stoplight, and I went, oh, wait a minute, I had something else to say. So, yeah, all you people that are worried about me driving and doing these things, obviously I have my mind on the road so much that sometimes I leave stuff out, and sometimes it's important enough that I turn the camera back on. This is one of those situations. I was talking about Jesse Eisenberg and whether or not I like him. And here's the problem, the other problem with the film, is that I didn't like anyone in the film, any of the characters, any of them. Except maybe for the hot girlfriend. That was it. I thought pretty much it would have been better off if they had all, except for the hot girlfriend, got into a big group hug and then managed to set the bomb off. That's honestly what I was thinking when I was thinking about lunch. If this went really dark and the bomb went off, then I could get to food faster. So, but no, none of the characters are likable. And I know that they tried to do the likable loser protagonist thing with Jesse Eisenberg, but at least on me it didn't work. It's very clearly why he's a loser. It's not even that he hasn't found himself or anything, and I have no... in fact, if you want to say that a film like this has a message, which I don't think films have to have messages, whether it's a lowercase m or an uppercase m, the message of the film is... I don't want to spoil what passes for the ending, but I mean the message of the film is that's the most disturbing part of the film, is that, oh, all it takes to fix a couple of losers is X, and you can probably fill in what X is, but I'm not going to tell you. I'll let your mind spoil it for you. Isn't that how life works? Your mind spoils it for you. Anyway, so I wanted to say that. That is the other thing. Apart from, you know, not bringing the funny, part of the reason why it's hard to engage with the film is because there's simply no characters to really warm up to. Except for the hot girlfriend. So there you go. Bye.